Yo! Video games.
All right, we been sitting here talking about other shit for like an hour.
Holy shit.
Oh,
Really?
And we saw Deadpool.
Deadpool.
Deadpool 2, sorry, yeah, in case this gets
Which-
confused with
which
time
was-
travel.
Yeah, which was weird because for months they didn't have a title.
Really?
Yeah, like it didn't get its title until like a month or two ago.
And it was just Deadpool,
Deadpool
2.
They just finally just said, fuck it.
I didn't even know.
Yeah,
Deadpool 2.
You know what that is?
Make sure
Them
that,
not being able to figure out a good title.
Make sure that's other conversation.
Kenny, please.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about Avengers 4.
Okay.
It's not going to be on
Don't
the
talk
video.
about my topical.
Okay.
cream
I'm not
onions.
talking about Avengers 4 in a Deadpool 2 review.
Okay.
I know how to edit.
All right.
We're not, you don't want, I don't know what the fuck is
I know.
Yeah.
I was kind of
Yeah.
lost too.
Well,
So.
because
I'm
we
not
started
gonna-
talking, I didn't even know that the review started, and we were talking about things.
Yeah, we were just talking about random stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're talking about it right now.
Yeah, we're talking
all right.
Don't worry.
Okay,
don't worry.
cool.
You'll be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Don't worry. We're talking about how we all love DP together.
Yes. Yeah, we all DP.
DP2.
So we saw DP2, and I think it's fair to say that everyone kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Going into this one, Deadpool 1 was... everyone knows. Nobody dislikes Deadpool 1.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
it's really hard not to like that movie, and for it to be being a lighthearted comic book romp, which doesn't usually happen nowadays because everything is so infinity focused that has to build and lead and all this shit. To have something that is just fun and a story that is actually human focused, which is weird because it's fucking Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like, human element focus was a big aspect of the first one. It's actually a huge aspect of the second one, which is ultimately what makes them good movies, not just, hey, Deadpool's getting shot and there's blood and, then they're saying fuck a lot. It's not just that. That's like icing on the cake because it's actually a good movie. And I can say the same thing for the second one. It's good.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the second one is that, of course, it's got plenty of F-bombs and gore and all that shit, right? But the interesting thing about it is that it's so not for the audience that loves Deadpool. And I'm taking this from my years of being in the education system. And, I know you hate the terminology, but yes, my 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old students
Kids, yeah.
love Deadpool.
Well, I love him now.
Wanted to see Deadpool. And I think if they do go, if any of them do go see Deadpool 2, they're going to be kind of disappointed because it's approaching a subject matter that's so far out of, a preteen's wheelhouse that they may just be like, well, I like, they're going to like the F-bombs and shit, but it's not going to be just the mindless LOL random romp.
Yeah.
It's not going to be what they want, which is Teen Titans Go with F-bombs. It's not going to be that.
Ooh.
Right. So, which is kind of what they expect and what they want. It's actually a movie that's made for, people our age.
Yeah, it kind of is, like, rooted in the foundation of people that grew up with comics and takes itself very lightheartedly, just kind of how the comics we grew up sort of did. They're cheesy and no one knows how to draw feet and shit like that. So that's a huge element of Deadpool, but I can completely understand why. I mean, you working around kids a lot, why kids would be attracted to a movie like Deadpool because it's the thing they shouldn't be watching. Yeah. Once fucking again, kids love Mortal Kombat and kids are gonna love the things they shouldn't be watching. And Deadpool is a snarky, funny, complete anti-hero, which is amazing. Like, even as kids, like, I didn't know who Deadpool was, but I can completely relate with the fact that kids love the non-hero in a lot of shit.
Well,
especially the perceptive one.
Let me put it to you this way. You were way too young to see RoboCop when you saw RoboCop.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you were too.
Oh, yeah.
Way too young to see Predator when I saw Predator.
When you saw Predator. Predator and RoboCop are great examples of you're way too young to see that, when you haven't hit your teens yet, but you're gonna, if you probably will love it anyways.
Yeah.
I feel Deadpool 2 with some of the themes and some of the parts that sort of like stretch out more emotional beats.
Mm-hmm.
You might be a little bummed if you're hitting that like 13, you're like, why isn't he just chopping out more shit? Like, so I actually, what I'm saying is I appreciate the kind of juggle act 1 and especially 2 do, where they actually try to balance between like having an emotionally resonant reason for things happening.
And even though the director changed and a big part of the first movie changed from the second one, they were actually able to keep the vision relatively intact, and it still feels like it's a fun comic book movie. What'd you feel, Kenny?
No, and going back what Simmons says, like, oh yeah, we were too young to watch RoboCop. There was so many RoboCop toys and all these
Oh my
toys
God,
dude.
for all these rated R movies.
I
And that's the
remember
crazy
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Like we had toys for Aliens and Predator directly for children.
For children.
But the what they came from was the worst fucking movies. Like people getting their heads just blown off. Like Peter. I remember Murphy getting destroyed in RoboCop.
That was
destroyed me as a kid.
Yeah, it
Like
was pretty rough.
I feel like my sense of empathy came from that moment
Yeah.
in my life. Was seeing that shit. You felt so fucking bad for
that's
him.
kind of true, man. I kind of remember that. I'm like,
it was very
Like, oh my
Yeah.
god. Like,
Yeah.
and I, same thing, I saw Akira when I was really young, and it, like, shaped my brain,
Yeah.
you know? Like, so,
Dude.
yeah.
And like RoboCop had a guy getting toxic waste dumped on him, turned into a mutant, and then getting ran over by a car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And splattered.
He kind of deserved it though.
Yeah. Oh! But I liked the movie. I had a lot of fun with it. My like crazy or not just really short review is that I think they tried a little too hard on this second one.
They did seem like they were trying to push humor
Push
all
humor
over the
way
place.
too much.
I do
And
agree.
what I liked about the first one, it was just a really good mix of action and humor and everything. And that's maybe it's my own thing against sequels. I like sequels, but sometimes when they try to do too much of the first thing, like when there's like Dumb and Dumber and Anchorman, like these sleeper hits that were good, and they try to do it again. So like we're just gonna push it more. And
I do not
a little
think
too much.
I do not think
either sequel.
I do not think Deadpool 2 is like specifically bad for the
No,
reason.
not at all.
But it did feel that their push for extra bits of humor, and you can kind of tell because they had added voiceover in some moments for some characters, and it's very clear that the character isn't talking, but there's words coming out.
Oh, there was ADR. There
Yeah.
was a giant section of ADR in the credits.
Was there really?
Yeah, there were I was like, ADR, like I forget what they called it, but like there was a huge amount of people who worked on ADR on this.
Oh shit!
Oh,
Okay,
you
that's
see
what
it,
you-
like, you
There's
see it in
some.
the
I
credits,
mean,
yeah.
just outside of like Deadpool can't project the way they want him to. Ryan Reynolds can't project to the mask. The way they want
right,
to
right,
all the
right.
time.
So-
So that's it. All of
Yeah.
Deadpool's voice is ADR. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a part of the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is a lot of jokes that are kind of ADR'd in.
Yeah.
That and there are absolutely some jokes in this one that kind of just fall flat. And people just didn't laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some really good ones.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the ones that they tried to add in, like there needs to be more punchiness to everything. It was like almost a little too much. I don't think it was a huge distraction, but like you said, you definitely could pick up that.
Yeah, I could definitely pick
They
up
tried.
going like little, and that's what I think was the beauty of the first one. It was just a great combination of the two things, and came across very smoothly. And this one was just like, okay, you're kind of pushing and saying too much, and this guy's trying to be funny, and now this guy's trying to be funny. I'm like, just keep it, like to the point where Deadpool's like bar buddy was I mean, he was already Deadpool pretty much in part one, and now he's like Deadpool again. And
There
it's
was like some characters that were in on the joke, especially Deadpool.
Yeah.
And now it seemed like almost fucking everybody in the movie is in on the joke.
Yeah.
And that's and that could be a little daunting.
Yeah, I just there's a little more jarringness, or how should I say it? The balance is a little more jarring between the humor and the emotion.
Yes.
Or the hey, we're trying to have a serious moment, and then we're trying to interject a joke here or whatever. It's more jarring. It doesn't flow as naturally as the first movie. A part of that is because the first half they kind of go a little overboard with fourth wall breaking humor.
Yeah.
A little bit, and then it kind of eases off.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like, I think if you're gonna break the fourth wall, don't just constantly do it every scene. Like doing it every once in a while, it's good. But when it's like,
it was a little much in the first like quarter of the movie, and then they actually ease off. How'd you feel, Steve? Did you like it?
Yeah, that was great. I actually enjoyed it. I thought the comedy hit and the characters were witty. I was a little disappointed with the dialogue between him and
Cable.
I thought it would have been a little bit more.
I wanted there to be a little bit more and maybe some snappier stuff. They have a couple. They get like a couple of moments.
Yeah, a couple of shots in there. But
like I said before going into this movie, all I want to see is just Cable and Deadpool
dialogue.
just talk to each other.
Yeah.
Just banter and make references and shit like that. And there is a couple of kind of tiny moments that happens, and there's like a really good moment in the end, which I think is actually the best one, and like one of the last things they do together.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I actually really, really wanted more of the movie to be that. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some extended scenes that do push that out, but I want it to be like meaningful. Like I want them to be discussing important topics related to story, but in a Cable and Deadpool way.
Nah, you're right.
They can't just be talking
thing.
about friends or some shit. It's gotta be related to the story.
It was a fun movie, but it definitely wasn't better than the first. I think that it was a movie of its own right, but of course you have to compare it to the first one. When you compare it to the first one, it's missing something in that thing.
It's like the first one is like a 90 and this one's like an 85.
Yeah.
I do agree.
Like I enjoyed Domino. I thought she was cool.
Domino
was
great.
I thought she was fucking awesome, man.
The best.
Really
I think
cool.
almost everybody agrees. Domino's like the coolest, newest character that they added to this shit, and she's handled super well. I think Josh Brolin does a great job as Cable too, and it's neat seeing Cable do stuff, but I felt like they could have maybe done more with him. I don't know.
Definitely.
It's like
a lot of people don't realize that Cable is kind of like Deadpool. He has, like, if you just look at his wiki and all his powers, he's fucking nuts, dude. He has a ton of stuff that he can do that is amazing, and he has regenerative powers, sort of, but for the most part, he's damn near he's crazy.
Cable's a big aspect of where the X-Men and where they're going and what they have to do to stop shit. But at the same time, there is I guess we'll just get into spoilers from here. All in all, we all really enjoyed it. I mean, you should absolutely go see it.
I really enjoyed it.
If you like old X-Men, if you like comic books, if you like just witty, funny,
it's definitely got more nods to X-Men too. So if you want a little bit more X-Men stuff, it's good for that.
You know what it is? I feel like part one is a popcorn movie, and this one's a popcorn movie, but part one was a more memorable popcorn movie.
Because it's probably the first one.
Well,
this one doesn't deviate a lot from that.
Because this one has like it's the fresh, brand new thing.
Exactly.
And this is two. This is part two.
So
you're never gonna really get away from that too much.
But at the end of this one, do you want to see more like with the characters that?
Oh my
hell yes!
Yes.
By the end of it, you're like, I'm not going to say which characters are hanging out and around and which characters are going to be representing the next movies, but with the characters that are there, I really want more.
I'm all about it, dude. Like,
definitely.
They look like a really solid, team.
So, getting into spoilers from this point forward, if you haven't seen the movie, I recommend go seeing it because there's some nice surprises. There's some cool little moments and nods that if you just pick up on that. Give Simmons more shit to do in editing.
To the Mega Man warning, Simmons. Do it!
Dude, I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to loop that.
All right, just do that.
I'm disappointed.
All right.
One of my favorite things is that they bring back Juggernaut, and that's really cool.
Yes.
And the best part is that Juggernaut is cartoonishly gigantic.
That's what makes me happy.
He's not just a large guy that is like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
I thought they were gonna try to go there without Juggernaut, bitch.
This motherfucker.
Because they already did it.
It's over.
They already did it.
They already did it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I like.
You know what? They may do it, but I think they've already done the joke, so they won't do it again.
This motherfucker, and I was already when they were hinting at who it is early in the film. I'm like, I really hope that's Juggernaut. I don't know who else in Marvel is a giant.
Motherfucker.
I really hope this is Juggernaut. And then ended up being him, and he just looks like Juggernaut. That's big ass dude. He doesn't have like the old brown suit that a lot of you know, but he's not.
He's in prison.
He's in prison, so he's got his prison garb on. He has like they actually make the helmet on his head like this lock thing they have to keep him like held down, but it's broken.
It's really great.
Well,
so he looks like Juggernaut, and he's all CG.
Yeah, he's a big ass CG
Huge CG monster
The
guy.
thing is, like, they don't. Juggernaut's not a mutant.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to be a mutant.
Nope.
He's Xavier's brother, right?
And they reference that in the movie. He's like, my brother's stuck in a wheelchair. But I guess they're going with the fact that you can't just take his helmet off. Like, you can't just pop it off.
No, not at all.
So they had to just build the lock around it.
Yeah, and like the original lore behind Juggernaut is that the helmet is actually there to prevent Charles from stopping him from being a monster.
Yeah.
Like, and once the helmet's off, Charles can actually fucking control him.
Yeah.
I believe there was an entire cartoon episode dedicated to that.
Well, his helmet's magic based.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so in this one, they have a smart thing. They make it like the lock, and Professor X isn't like around to do shit.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm kind of curious, when did the Deadpool movies take place timeline-wise?
Before Logan.
So it's like 90s?
No, it's like now.
Then how the fuck are the
now, because Logan was a little bit later.
So
because that scene was great.
My question is the scene specifically with the fucking X-Men in it?
Yeah.
How is everyone not Patrick Stewart and shit? Like,
they were just replacing
because
Patrick
it was just a
Stewart.
blue screen.
Well, right. It's
I get what he's saying.
It's a
like,
gag,
not
but it actually confused me because it's the younger 80s X-Men.
But
70s
here's the
X-Men.
funny fucking thing: the Dark Phoenix movie, which is supposed to be like the part 4, is in the 90s.
Yeah,
like they're time skipping 10 years with each one.
Yeah, I know.
They're up to the point where the first X-Men movie was with Patrick Stewart with Dark Phoenix today. So they're basically
they're getting there. Like X-Men started in the 2000s.
Well, like 99, 2000, right, or whatever. Right, so we're pretty much almost there with the new younger cast.
Sure.
So they're basically saying like, they're the same characters. Forget about those old X-Men movies.
Yeah. All I was saying is that I saw like non-Kelsey Grammer Beast, and I saw a new Xavier, and I was just like, what? What the fuck?
I didn't see him.
It was a great nod.
Yeah,
it was a great nod. And it was really funny.
And what's nice, then it made sense, because like he's like, where's all these people? Where's all this? And then all of a sudden,
they're like,
oh fuck,
they're like, we're
not dealing with this guy. And it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
so that part was
really
that one.
Really
I got the biggest laugh out of that. I got a really big laugh out of the Rob Liefeld joke, where he was making fun of. There's a moment where they're making fun of like making fun of himself and making fun of Cable and how like
Domino.
And Domino, and it's almost like they don't know how to draw feet or some shit
or
something. And direct.
Yeah, there was some
reference
references
to the
that you
creator.
like had to be hardcore to know. Which was like, I'm like, damn, all right.
Yeah.
That's really good.
But the thing I like the most about the movie is that it did have an emotional resonance. Like, it does actually keep the human element throughout the whole film, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
I did dig the story. It's not, like, super complicated. I think Cable's handled well, but at the same time...
and that's the thing. I didn't like his suit from the future. It didn't look like...
You mean his bodysuit?
Yeah, his bodysuit didn't look right.
Bodysuit,
when he wore, like, regular clothes of the day, he looked cool. But
his weird future bodysuit was
didn't
kind of
look
like...
right.
He wears it for like 2 seconds.
Exactly, and that's what threw me off. It was like, ugh.
When the guys are having a detailed conversation about wiping their ass.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck?
He just shows up with his body texture.
Another thing is that I didn't feel anything for his family. Like, it just put him, boom, right there. Family dead. Now he's angry. He's going back in time.
You didn't understand much. Like, what ultimately they tried to set up in the movie is that Cable and Deadpool are, like, the same. Like, they are mercenaries that have people they love, but Cable's just a bit further in his life than Deadpool was, where he actually had a child, which Deadpool wanted. Right. So it's nice little. It's like they rhyme, you know. It's like it's like they rhyme. So I did enjoy that aspect, but at the same time, I feel that Cable is treated as a bad guy for a lot of the movie. Yeah. And it was almost like I wanted more Cable.
Exactly. I'm with you on that 100%.
Well, that's the thing is
he's
that
an unknown
the way they set up the plot of this film like doesn't necessitate basically what you wanted more of, because for 2/3 of the film, or rather just the middle third, he's the bad guy.
Yes.
And then he comes around, but he's still sort of like I mean,
and then they're frenemies, which is what they always are.
Yeah. It gets to the frenemy point, but it happens in the last act.
Yes.
So
it's like
that's why you probably wish there was more.
I think what essentially we want from like Cable and Deadpool, which is a lot of them just like talking and being characters around each other and partners and shit, is going to be from, another spoiler, the next movie.
Yeah.
Right. Because the movie sets up the XForce established as the XForce.
Yeah, because I think one of the best things about the movie in a weird sort of way is that it gets you super fucking excited for a new film, which may not fucking happen with Disney now. But it gets you super fucking excited for their future adventures of these characters.
Yeah.
in a way that doesn't have to be wink, wink, nod, nod. Like, oh my God, here's Thanos' big dumb face at the end of the credits, or like, he leaves a calling card, and like, here's the Joker card. Like, oh shit, Joker's in the next movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that. It's like where the movie ends with the characters, you're just kind of like, I just can't wait. I just want to see more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just excited to see whatever the fuck this group of people get into next.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be awesome.
Because the story
doesn't even have to be set up for anything.
The story in this one is like, the first one is an establishing story of Wade, so this one has to put him in a situation that's dire, and the situation isn't technically dire, much less does the situation actually affect Deadpool very much, but indirectly it does.
Yeah.
Where he essentially is a product of Cable's story, where it mostly is Cable's story, where Cable's family is killed. He goes back in time to stop the person that kills his family, and that's about it. But then Deadpool coincidentally fulfills something that he needs to do by Cable coming back, and the plot is fulfilled by the end. And all it really sets up in the end is not like a bigger arcing tale. It doesn't set up any of that shit.
Yeah.
All it sets up is that, hey, Cable and Domino are still around, and Colossus and Teenage Mutant Ninja Starfire is, what's her name?
A Negasonic Teenage Warrior.
That's what it is. They're all going to hang out with Pinkie Pie, and they're going to whoop ass.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh, yeah.
And for me, there was, my favorite thing about the movie's Domino.
Yeah.
It was, awesome.
She's really cool.
Just seeing how luck was her superpower.
Yeah, and they make
awesome.
great gags around it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't get to see too much of Terry Crews. I didn't get to see
okay, so one of the greatest hat flips in this whole movie is that they spend this time and in a lot of the trailers building up the X-Force team that you see in the trailers. And they immediately kill them off. Really funny.
Bastard.
Yeah,
you know what's
kill
funny?
them
I
off.
was reading up on some articles, and what was the guy with the red hair?
Shatterstar. That was hilarious.
There were articles detailing of this guy's background.
Sure,
and he's. I
remember Shatterstar. He had the double swords and shit.
Yeah, and they said that
he's
so I think even Matt McMuscles.
Yeah, Matt McMuscles
super excited about this character.
Of course, I'd love to see their reaction.
Super excited about this character, and murdered right as soon as he on screen.
They all get murdered by high winds.
It's
really windy.
No. Oh no!
It's handled very funny.
Yeah,
and it's Deadpool just looking on as everybody's dying. They're all dead.
Oh no!
You're the only one.
The Invisible Man, the Invisibler. What was his name?
Vanisher.
So yeah, the
it was
Vanisher.
Such a stupid gag, but hilarious.
Dude, the funniest thing is that the Vanisher is an unseeable dude.
Yeah.
So they never address him, nor does he ever talk. So they're just like, is he there?
Flying back.
I don't know. You're hired.
Parachute.
And then there's moments later where you don't even realize Vanisher's not there, but there's just a backpack with a parachute just sitting in a chair and it doesn't move. And then they're all jumping out. It's got pictures of Domino and Shatterstar and Deadpool, and it goes to Vanisher and it's just a backpack falling
down, dude.
It's it's a good gag.
Yeah. And then when he dies,
you see who it is, and it's Brad fucking Pitt.
And I was like, so you saw that too then?
Yeah, we all did.
I said, I'm like,
that was Brad Pitt.
It was just so quick. It was so quick that it was kind of confusing to see.
There are some really quick gags in this movie, almost too fast. Like when Deadpool is going for all of his cocaine after spoilers, after his wife dies. He goes for it says DP's cocaine, and there's something above it, and it's in the old woman's house who's blind that he hangs out in the first movie. It says the cure for blindness, and he just knocks it aside. He just picks up the cocaine.
Blindness. I didn't see that part. Wow.
Yeah. There's some funny shit. I would say the creepy baby leg scene was really.
Oh God, we saw it.
Really uncomfortable.
Oh man,
really uncomfortable.
It was so quick, but it was so horrifying.
Because I was actually getting annoyed because they kept talking. Everyone's reacting, and then you don't see it. I'm like, why they don't see it? Come on, this is R-rated.
And you're like, oh.
And for half a second, they actually show his big old chub, and I'm like, awesome, thank you.
Ah, shit, man, and it is hideous because it's deformed. Like there's like it's like in different parts of it or something like that. It looks like
most penises, when you really boil it down, they just look like ET. When you really boil it all down.
Man.
It was a funny, uncomfortable scene.
Yeah.
And all the characters are like riffing on it too. It's there's some. It's just fun.
I actually liked his bar buddy. I mean, what's his name?
T.J. Miller.
T.J. Miller's really good.
He's
and he
really
will
funny.
He will not be back in any other film.
Yeah, I know. As of right now, he's doing.
Oh, he's done.
Yeah, he's doing rough right now.
He's not doing time, is he?
No,
he will be. Very
know,
potentially.
I don't know if he's going to get convicted or not.
I don't know, but T.J. Miller, he's funny, but he was just Deadpool.
Well, he's had meltdowns on set, and then
Deadpool.
now he's made a fake bomb threat, so he's not showing up in any more movies for a while.
Maybe not.
But I mean, even then, I enjoyed his quips. I
he's a funny guy, but you don't.
In Ready Player One, he was great. In this, and Deadpool 2, he's great. In almost anything he gets on.
It's real unfortunate that he's an
asshole.
That troubled.
Yeah, he's not an asshole.
I would say that setting up the next movie for Cable, Domino, and Deadpool has me like really excited.
Yeah, here's the thing. I just kind of want to throw this out there. Just like again, awesome. I like the modern, at least the last couple minus Apocalypse. I like the modern like Fox comic Marvel movies. Because where this movie sets it up, they even have it like a joke where he's going down like the name of the character. So it's like you have Domino, Deadpool, with his weird abilities, Colossus, Cable, and Negasonic, and Yukio, and then
Fire Fist now.
Well, Fire Fist now, and then of course because time travel shenanigans, they can bring in everyone back.
Sure.
Those fucking nutty characters, like they're not even that nutty. Just the fact that like. You want to talk about diversity? Nothing's more diverse than that last shot of the group of the X-Force walking out. They're all weird and wacky, and not because they're CG raccoons.
And the funniest thing is that these characters are essentially the failed other X-Men. Does anyone remember X? I mean, we know X Factor.
I remember X Factor.
We remember X-Force because of Shatterstar and Cable and shit like that. I remember mostly X-Force because of Cable and Shatterstar. X Factor was like Bishop and shit. Like I don't even know if I know anybody else in fucking X Factor outside of Bishop. Like it would take a while. But these were the essential like. I don't know if they were failed, but they were the not X-Men.
I mean, if you go to comics, there's like different versions of the X-Men.
Well, sure, but this was like this was Marvel Comics like struggling for decades, going fucking bankrupt practically, and at one point in the 90s they come across the 90s X-Men, and it becomes the biggest selling comic book of all time, and the platinum age of comics begins, it's insane. So they try to capitalize on that as much as possible, and like X Factor and X-Force become a thing.
And really at the end of this movie, because what makes it so exciting is that this is a true cast of misfits that I want to see get into stuff. Like I love the Guardians movies, but I feel like the X-Force at the end of this movie is like even crazier and nuttier. Because they're all such weird, fucked up people.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird to think that, like, in the vein of, like, Marvelverse now, and just character-wise, like, a lot of people were excited for Cable, but I think a lot of people don't even know who the fuck he is.
We did. But
like, we definitely did, because he was, like, the big hot shit back in the day with, like, weirdos like Maverick and stuff like that only I remember. So, and then it's weird that, like, Cable is technically that defunct X-Men guy.
Yeah.
That
it's
really fucking weird. Cyclops' son, but they never touched that in the movie at all.
I thought they were going to retcon
for the next movie.
They have they have the robovirus on him.
Yeah, he's literally
and he kind of like makes like a nonverbal point out to it.
Yeah.
But they never address it. They never really
he doesn't really like there's a moment where he's like looking at his fucking body being taken over by this shit. Yeah. It's like eating half his body. Yeah. But you don't know if it's like a robot arm or anything like that. It was just his big buff arm. And then there's like a specific moment where he's like looking at it as it's like kind of all over him. And it's not like, hey, I got this sweet robot arm, let me check me out. No, it's more like he's like, fucking shit. As he's looking at it in the mirror.
Like I said, that's why the character's so like insane, because of his mutant powers, he's able to overcome that virus.
Yeah, it's the only thing that stops him.
He's using almost all of his powers. Because if he doesn't, he gets fucked up.
He dies.
But you know where our love for Cable came from too? It was like from the comics, but it kind of revamped when we play Marvel's Capcom 2.
Dude, there was a small glimmer of hope, but it didn't happen. Like, I think the closest we're going to get to our lovely X-Men video games from the 90s is that Thanos did fucking use bubbles.
Yeah.
We
were hoping for a Hyper Viper.
There is very few moments of Thanos using bubbles in the comic books. Maybe like 1 or 2 examples. One's like a big thing he does for some reason in all the games. I was almost pissed when they happened. Cable has a big gun, a big crazy gun that does a lot of really stupid nutty shit, and he's got a dial on it, and the dial just goes from 0 to 10. And I was really hoping past 10 it said Hyper Viper or some shit.
Oh god!
What the? It was so perfect, man. Like fucking come on!
It's a little cheesy for Cable as a character. What would make sense is if in part 3, Deadpool gets a hold of the gun, and he's just like, I turn this baby up to 11, and it just goes like, 10, Hyper Viper.
Yeah.
Like, Deadpool himself modifies the guns to do that. Because that's something Deadpool would do. But the character of Cable would not really put a dial that says Hyper Viper.
I don't think anybody on the set.
I don't think anybody knows anything about that. Well, all we have to do is to let them know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, do it.
We need to let them know about Hyper Viper beam.
Do it.
Yeah.
No,
but sometimes
shit,
you get those references out of the blue, and they really kind of like.
I mean, honestly, fucking Thanos using a bubble in the other thing was probably purely coincidental.
Oh yeah,
I'm thinking it was, but it definitely didn't feel that way.
Yeah, I know when he saw it. You're like, ooh, they remembered. I'm sure nobody.
And there are people that have made YouTube videos like saying that. Why did Thanos use bubbles? Well, in the Marvel vs. Capcom series,
exactly.
Like they just go into it. Like I'm like, really? People actually believe this shit? You know what? Maybe convincing me. Maybe there's a little bit.
I would love it to be true.
Like,
I would
if you're like a writer,
true.
maybe you go in there and look up Cable. Like, well, let's look up all this stuff. Like that's something that let's look at the comics.
Cable memes.
Oh, you know what? He was in Marvel too. What's something? Yeah.
But
it is one of the few pieces of media Cable was in prior to this movie.
Cable's not.
There was
Cable
like some
showed
episodes of the cartoon.
He like in 1 or 2 episodes of the show. I swear to God.
Then MVC 2, and that was it.
And
otherwise, it's just comics.
After that, he's probably in like Marvel Contest of Champions because everybody's in that game or some shit.
Well, okay, that's my biggest fear going forward is that when Disney acquires Fox and later the world, that they don't want to do any more Cable in any future Deadpool movies because they don't want Thanos to be in both or Josh Brolin to be in both franchises, and it's like, fuck, I really hope it doesn't go this way. Because even though he wasn't my first choice for Cable, I really like Josh Brolin in this film. So.
Yeah, I think he did a good job.
I'm like, I'm almost a little worried now that they're going to be like, we can't have our Thanos being also our Cable. If we're going to bring them into our
it'll be kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, they could just change the character altogether.
Or they could just keep it separate.
Well, by the time that shit happens, Thanos is going to be gone.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not going to be. And in 1 year, like spoiler alert, the Avengers are going to win. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
I'm thinking. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I just like seeing these characters come back, and it seems like a lot of fucking people do too. Yeah. So it's like Marvel. There's obviously an untapped market there that they should be taking advantage of because there's no limitation in terms of a lot of their games they're making.
What is Disney's beef with rated R movies? Are they just like so fucking afraid of it?
Disney's beef with rated R movie is that they're called Disney.
Yeah,
they are Disney.
They're Disney, so they can't have any rated R movies.
They haven't shied away from it because they have their sister companies that just put the rated R movies.
Right, exactly.
Well, I believe Bob Iger basically came out and said like a year or less ago, like, no, we're not down. Like, I think Deadpool's humongous success and
changed their
insane
mind.
Profitability made them go, well, we're not going to just throw it all
have these morals and values, but that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
His comment was basically, we just need to figure out the right way to promote and label it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I get it. You just don't want to call it a Marvel movie. Whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, throw out as
Marvel's logo's right on the front.
Yeah. Right, because they don't. Disney doesn't have a choice in that.
The average consumer that watches these movies, and much less the average kid, doesn't know. Like, it's just the adult Marvel movies.
Yeah,
like that's all they really are. Yeah. So last but not least.
Yeah, you're probably going to talk about
the final scene.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the movie.
All the events of the film are essentially reverted because Deadpool swipes away. By the way, that moment with Deadpool hugging Cable,
Yeah.
he's like, "Let's touch hips. Hips have to touch. Yep, that's my tip. That's your tip. That's good." And they're like, they're hugging. And Deadpool's like, "Oh." He's like, "Is that a knife in my dick?" And Cable's like, "That's a knife in your dick." He's like, "Oh, okay." It's a really funny moment at the end of the film with his very elongated death scene. I loved it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The longest death scene in death scenes.
Yeah.
The everything's technically reverted because Deadpool swipes Cable's time machine, gets it fixed from Nega, Super, Sonic,
Negasonic and Yukio repair it.
They repair it. They figure out how to repair it somehow.
Sure, right? Because their technology is the same as the one in Futures.
I don't know how they repair it, but whatever.
Who cares? Fuck it. Lazy writing. Like he says in the show, like he says in the movie.
Lazy writing.
Lazy writing. Fuck it.
There's a couple of moments where they're specific, like lazy writing.
Lazy writing. Fuck it. Who cares?
But I actually like that fact because they
acknowledge it.
They set up in the movie that Cable only has the juice to go back and to go
go
back in time, go back to his time, right?
Yeah.
And then he does he does like noble thing, whatever, and then it's the after credits thing where it's like they basically undo the movie,
right?
Except for one important thing,
which is Cable's still around.
Yeah.
That's not undone. So the idea is that at the beginning of the film, Cable's
that paradox?
Deadpool's wife dies, which sets up for the emotional the emotional construct of the whole film of why Cable is doing what he does and Deadpool's doing what he does and why Deadpool needs to save this boy. And by the end of it, when Deadpool gets a hold of Cable's time machine, Deadpool just starts going back in time and I'm gonna fucking fix everything. So he goes back and he saves his wife and he goes back and he saves supposedly not just the one normal X-Force guy.
Yeah, I think all of them.
I think he technically probably saves them all.
That guy's funny though.
Peter,
that was one of my favorite
assuming
parts.
it was just like we didn't want to drag it out for each
they didn't
single character. I think you can infer he's probably going to do something.
Just walk away.
Yeah, he pretty much saves the X-Force original X-Force from dying.
Yeah,
and he goes back to Wolverine. He goes back to fucking Wolverine Origins or some shit like his original Deadpool role and kills the original Deadpool character with Wolverine just looking at him all weird.
It was beautiful.
And then he goes back to Ryan Reynolds accepting the script for Green Lantern and he shoots him in the head. It's a very funny moment.
Yeah, it's one of probably the best after trailers.
That is the original Deadpool. He shoots him. He falls to the ground and he's like...
He shoots him like 8 more times.
This is fine.
He's like, I'm fixing the timeline.
I'm fixing the timeline.
He's fixing the timeline.
He just keeps going and it's like, this is beautiful. This is beautiful.
Another hark back to that is that moment where they take that scene, like, where he slices the bullet in half and then he's like... doing like the thing, and he's just shot up a bunch of times. The old cartoon thing.
But for me, that was kind of disappointing because I saw the trailer, and he says something different. And he says something different.
He says something funnier.
And he says something way funnier.
Really?
And it's like, why would they cut that out?
So in the movie, he after he doesn't dodge the bullets, he just goes,
huh.
Ow.
Okay. He's like, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the trailer, you see him like, oh, your bullets.
You're so fast.
They're very fast.
So fast. Wow.
That was funny.
That's actually funnier.
Yeah, that was actually funnier.
But it's also better that they don't just reuse the same joke.
That's good too.
I like that too.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They did it with when he what was it the DC universe? Which it's so dark and gritty.
Yeah.
What is this, the DC universe?
Yeah,
and it was like that was in the trailer.
It was.
So I
actually appreciate it more when they twist your expectations.
Sure, but they replace it with something more funny, not just like ouch.
There are some gags that are in the trailer that are actually funnier than their delivery in the movie, and there's some gags in the trailer that actually keep it in the movie, and they're really funny too. Like it's so dark. What are you from the DC universe? Like that's really good.
Yeah, hilarious.
So it's great. It's a good movie. I love the fact that it's like how self-aware it is and how in character it is.
It's Deadpool. It is always going to be self-aware.
And that's the idea. Is that it's nice to have a movie that technically has like a small recollection. I love the fucking the gag where he's fighting all the Yakuza guys in bathrobes or in like bath towels.
Yeah. Oh my god!
Deadpool gets blood in his eye, and he's like, bad guy blood, and he like splashes his eye, and then he lifts up, and there's just like the dick of one of the Yakuza guys that's just sitting right in front of him, and he's like, What did he say?
He's like, "Oh, Scoutmaster
Yeah,
Mike."
Oh yeah. Scoutmaster Mike. It's good to see you.
Yeah, because he used a towel to dry his eye, but it's like just,
Yeah,
it's just like the dicky towel hanging off the guy in the bathhouse. He's just like staring at his dick. He's like, "Oh, Scoutmaster Mike."
Scoutmaster Mike.
And I was like, "Oh, this is so bad."
Oh my
but I love
God.
it so much.
Yeah, you let out a big one on that.
I was like, holy shit, that is terrible, but terribly funny.
Yeah.
Awfully entertaining.
There's a lot of really good gags. I don't think we're remembering.
Oh, yeah.
But Juggernaut's got some good moments. Juggernaut acts the way you want Juggernaut to act.
Man.
Yeah, he acted
I've been
yeah.
wanting that.
Juggernaut and Colossus have like a cool like
That's one
CG
of the
fight
top.
scene.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
It's good.
Colossus is one of those characters that is bland just to be bland and is still entertaining.
And they play off that.
Yeah, it's still
And that's exactly what
I
they play
kind
off.
of it didn't make me
I
laugh,
enjoyed
but I
it.
appreciate that Colossus tries to make quips like everyone else and fails miserably.
Yeah.
Like he never says anything funny. He just what you expect, but that's Colossus.
Right.
Yeah.
He tries.
He's dry and Russian.
He tries, but doesn't. But that never works. He just says like the lamest, most predictable fucking thing every time.
He's definitely one of my favorite X-Men. So to see him in action, but in kind of like a comedy,
I'm glad they never do the non-metal skin Colossus, which always
Yeah, I
weird.
was like, did they ever actually show him?
Well,
No.
Original X-Men, I thought he was cool.
Well, dude, no. When non-metal Colossus doesn't have the metal on, you see that motherfucker's thighs.
Oh.
And that is never comfortable.
Ah.
He's just got like a jock strap and he's got boots, but all thigh.
It's the
and I'm always like,
It's the anticipation of him actually becoming.
Sure,
Colossus
I get
is
it,
the funny part,
but
yeah.
there's some thighs.
There's some thighs, yeah, some man thighs. I mean,
I just want to see again. I want to see more of this. I want to see more of all these weird Island of Misfit toys
Yes.
of characters because they are by far as I'm concerned, the most interesting hodgepodge of people, even eclipsing the Guardians. And I like Guardians.
Well,
is really good.
I like Guardians too, but the thing is, their powers are just like whatever. And I agree with Simmons. Like having these people with weird powers that
are also weird people.
Yeah, they're weird.
The Guardians,
would be awesome.
The Guardians are characters of circumstance, while the characters in the Deadpool movies, especially with the end of this one, are characters that essentially have really unique, interesting traits and abilities and all this stuff that they kind of do outside of just being like a raccoon, a buff guy, and Thanos' daughter.
Exactly, and like they're that's what they basically are. But
I think I like them both. I think like
I do like them both.
I really like
them both.
I can't say which one I like more right now, but if I get to see more like '90s X-Men shit,
yes, man, give us that.
So
wacky weird.
What's next?
Domino walking around as the world
We're gonna
falls down around her.
We're gonna try to watch Solo.
I guess we're gonna try to watch Solo. We're gonna be at MomoCon in about a week from now. So if you guys want to go to that, we'll have a small Q&A panel.
Go for it.
Hang out and give some stuff away and talk to people. But Solo's coming out next weekend, and I can't wait to hate that. Sorry, I can't wait to watch that. We'll see. We'll see how good or bad it is. I'm specifically staying very
away from stuff.
Away from reviews. I don't want to know shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, should we do a review on Solo?
Solo? Yeah, let's
rip into it.
I want it. I definitely want to go see how.
I want to see it.
I was going to say how bad it is, but I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. It might be great.
I actually was very, very curious about how that movie would play out until I saw the guy that should have played the part. Now I'm just like, until I saw him, like everything was going fine. Everything was going fine.
From that movie called Age of Adeline, it's like, oh my god,
there's one guy that looks just like
fuck failed at this.
He looks just like young.
Fuck,
and he
sounds just like.
I don't know how he sounds.
You know, I'm upset that Ryan Gosling got fucking what was the movie?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Like fuck that guy. Put in that guy. He's literally freaking.
Yeah,
but with Blade Runner, it wasn't young Harrison Ford.
No. He's saying why wouldn't you get Ryan Gosling to play young Harrison Ford?
Yes, because Ryan Gosling would have been a better fucking choice.
If you're gonna get
probably a better actor.
The idea is that if you're gonna get someone that looks nothing like Harrison Ford to play Han Solo, you might as well just get fucking Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, get a fucking character that can that has charisma.
Yeah, get a character.
Well, to be fair, Ryan Gosling had no charisma in Blade Runner on purpose.
Well, he's not supposed to.
On purpose.
On purpose.
Yeah, he's not supposed to.
Which he did great for doing what he was supposed to do. But
holy fuck. Yeah, dude.
No, the guy looks and sounds just like him.
It is
Oh,
Kenny, if you want to be real, guy, if you really want to,
I've seen his I've seen his.
Say his name.
I don't fucking know his name.
He's actually
Say it.
10 years after
Anthony Gruber.
At
Yes.
10 years is that the guy that's in Solo or
No, that's the guy.
If you want to be
Okay.
real depressed, watch that movie clip. And you're
So
like,
10 years after he did the YouTube
Yeah.
video he made, he actually made a movie
Oh,
where he
okay.
plays with Harrison Ford,
Yeah.
a younger version of Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
the movie came out in 2015.
The movie is like, well, not even that old.
Old, yeah.
Would have definitely had begun filming before Solo probably started
I
filming.
even tweeted the link where I was just like, what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on?
And that movie would have been done way before 2015. And the scenes of him playing a younger Harrison Ford are insane.
Spotted on.
It is fucking spot on. And he's not a bad actor either.
Yeah, it's
he's probably a
spot
better
on.
actor
It's
than all the
scary.
problems the current guy had.
It's like a clone.
This
it's
movie
scary how
is
good
so
he is.
like,
It's
hey,
scary.
exactly.
That guy is nuts, dude.
We have this boy.
That little bit in that movie.
And that's what's funny because I felt like Harrison Ford should have fought for that guy. I think he should have said, "Wait, you're doing a Han Solo
The thing
movie?"
is,
had-
well, here's the thing. Harrison Ford does not give a shit
Nah,
about the
Harrison
character.
Ford.
So he's just like, I don't care about my character.
well, yeah.
Whatever.
You know what?
Yeah.
Fucking make him Indiana Jones. I don't give a
That's
fuck.
the thing I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that
Disney.
those little clips convinced me.
Kenny, you haven't seen it yet. You haven't seen him act.
I've only seen him
You
do
only
the
seen
impressions.
picture.
Like
Yeah,
that.
no,
No,
watch
not,
him
not
act.
Watch it
I'm
after.
I'm Harrison Ford.
Watch him act.
I'm just
I'm
saying that
Harrison
is,
Ford.
Literally
the
him.
clip was so impressive to me.
Look at me, I'm Harrison
I
Ford.
found a way that I could accept a new Indiana Jones after part
Oh, after
5
this,
Yeah.
yeah.
because they're doing part 5
Without
next year.
Harrison Ford, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What?
that, looking at that, I'm like, when after Indy 5, when they have to do something else for Indiana Jones, I'm like, I am okay with him, Anthony Gruber. I'm okay with him being Indiana Jones.
I don't care with him being anything.
He can do it.
Of Harrison Ford.
I'm like, okay, he can do it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Just don't cast the other guy. But anyways, I would say go see Deadpool 2. I like it better than most Marvel movies. That's not to necessarily knock Marvel movies. It's just that I like Deadpool.
They're just very different.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
They are very
have
different,
a formula.
it
Yeah.
speaks to, I guess, me, our age group a little harder.
Yeah.
Was Ryan
the character-
20-something-year-olds.
was Ryan a
Yeah,
writer
you
in
know.
the first one too, or because he got
Ryan
writer
is a
credit?
big Ryan was a big part of the first movie, and even it having that early teaser, which was largely responsible. Like he was always one of the guys that wanted to get Deadpool made for like 10 years.
Yeah,
He said.
okay.
He's absolutely one of the reasons the movies exist. He's not responsible for all of it. Many people are, but
I mean, Ryan is
without him, it probably wouldn't happen.
fucking Deadpool.
Yeah, he is.
outside from Chris Nolan. Chris Nolan is a beautiful fucking, or is
Not Chris Nolan.
No,
Chris
Nolan
Nolan's the
North.
director.
Nolan North. Sorry,
Nolan North.
Sorry, Nolan North. Sorry.
Nolan North voices the
voices
best
Deadpool to a T.
Yeah.
And he's a brilliant fucking voice, but of course you need a face to it, and Ryan Reynolds is the second best.
Yep. I agree.
Which is
Yeah.
so weird and funny in a way,
Mm.
because Nolan North does a great Deadpool.
They're just different.
But
You know
it's
what?
funny how I've always felt that a lot of the Marvel movies are just Nathan Drake's.
Yeah.
Like, Nathan Drake as a wizard, Nathan Drake in
Yeah,
space,
yeah.
Nathan Drake as a rich scientist. I'm like,
You know
everyone
what, though?
kind of has this very Nathan Drake feel to them, and
Yeah.
a lot of the superheroes in the
I
Marvel
think
movies.
people just resonate to that character.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're saying-
which Nolan North made big way 10
Yeah.
years ago with the first Uncharted.
Yeah.
That's true.
No, you're
That's true.
saying Ryan Reynolds is a great Deadpool, but Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. Like, as Deadpool.
He's
Deadpool.
pretty much playing
If you-
himself as
Yeah,
Deadpool
if you
then.
watch Blade 3, he's basically almost Deadpool
Yeah.
already in
Yeah,
Blade
yeah,
3.
I started. I mean, largely I was associated because I used to watch Two Guys, a Girl, in a Pizza Place when I was very young, and that was the sitcom he first started on,
Oh.
and then it got changed to Two Guys and a Girl. But it was like an old ABC fucking sitcom, and yeah, he largely plays a very similar, quirky kind of like party sort of character, and
Yeah.
he did that, and he was Van Wilder for a while, and yeah, Ryan Reynolds is essentially like it's the perfect role for him.
yeah.
And even a little bit in
'Cause
Green
he had
Lantern,
Unleashed,
he's
yeah.
a little Deadpoolish even in
Yeah.
that movie. Like it's just his personality that resonates a lot.
Yeah.
fucking movie.
I saw Green Lantern. It was
It was
Weird.
it was a movie. It was forgettable, but I think the whole movie was just a setup to bring in Sinister. Like the entire movie felt like
Sinestro.
Sinestro. Sorry.
Because he's just an X-Men character.
Yeah, I know, right? Like fucking Sinestro.
Dude,
like,
there's an X-Men character that'll never show up in fucking anything, but can show up in Deadpool.
Dude,
Yes, he
that'd be
can.
fucking
Mr.
cool.
Sinister,
Mr.
yeah.
Sinister, and he
Mr.
clones people, and he does all kinds
Yeah,
of
just
shit.
kind of weird.
So then maybe they get
stripes.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you've been noticing it, but they've been teasing Sinister in the last couple movies. The end
Yeah.
of Days of
They
Future
did in the
Past,
freaking the
Logan.
ending of one of the X-Men.
Yeah,
One of the X-Men, they literally hinted that he
Days
was
of
next.
Future Past.
He was the next one that's coming
They
up. So I was
hinted
like,
at
okay.
stuff
right,
in
that's
Logan.
right.
They hinted at stuff in this movie
Yeah.
with Mr.
They
Sinister.
are-
That's why I was surprised that they're focusing on Phoenix this time. Because I'm like, didn't they just?
I
hit
think
on
they're
Sinister?
trying to build up Mr. Sinister after, because they did off Apocalypse.
Right, exactly. What's next after Apocalypse? If you
fucked that
look,
up, man.
if you look at the storyline
I was
of
just thinking
X-Men
that's
comics,
what's going on in my head right now. I'm like, man, they fucked up Apocalypse so bad.
well, if you look at the storyline of X-Men comic books,
Yeah.
Sinister is supposed to be next. He's supposed to be the next
Yeah.
big bad guy.
Yeah.
So it just
We
comes
watched
with
the
it.
cartoons as well. We know.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the cartoons as well. That's right. That's true.
At the
So-
end of that season when they take down Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister is like the big looming thing. in the
Right.
background.
So I mean, I guess that's supposed to happen, but once again, they're focusing on Phoenix.
But yeah, go watch it. It's good, and we're looking forward to more. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Woo!